Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. It is Tuesday, January 24th. Good morning. We are heading towards the end of January. Holy crap. So welcome. We're going to live Viva for the rest of this month, the rest of this year. So welcome. I am the badass Buddha, Lori Monaco. I am coming to you from southern New England. It's been a very interesting season so far. It's cloudy today, but then it seems to burn off. The sun comes out, which is lovely. It's been cold, but not too cold. We had rain, then we went to snow, then we went back to nothing, and no accumulation yet, though. So very exciting and sad winter for the people who plow and for the people who have any type of winter sport. So hopefully they'll get some snow soon. At least where I live, the northern part of New England has been hit like hella hard. So they have tons of snow.
I know. Yes. Hola, mi gente. Buenos días aquí con la Margarita, your gladiator guru. Kathy Milagros, bienvenida. Hola. Hello. You know, I watched the snow falling, and I know some place it got really bad, and it wasn't far. It must have been somewhere near back home, but it was crazy. Where was it? Where do you say it snowed a lot?
Well, upstate New York keeps getting pelted. Burlington, where I thought about moving to, they had like 12 inches of snow like last week. So it keeps like coming. It's coming as it usually does, west to east, but it's like really far north. So I don't even think Massachusetts is getting all that much snow. They got more than Connecticut did, but it's really interesting. But January and February are worst months for snow. So, but it keeps shifting every year. So February and into March becomes that. So we'll see what happens with February. I don't mind the snow. I like it. I do. I feel bad for people who use that as part of their business, so I always want to make sure they get their little bit in there, so I hope we get something so that they
I love it. I love it. I think rain is cleansing, and I think the snow is healing. I think when you look at things in that kind of way, it just opens up a new thing. But rain is, like my favorite quote when it says, "In the rain, said to the wind, you push and I'll pelt." It's like they're all the children of Mother Nature, and they all come with a purpose. And then it's only us humans that really complain, not the animals who live outside dealing with it. It's only us. But it's like, buenos dias. It's like, good morning. Every morning is a new day. No matter.
Every morning is a new day, a new start.
If you're waking up late, if you got to get up extra early, or if you wake up on time, it is a new day. A good reason to begin your new year. So it's like every day you have the blessing, the gift. You have the opportunity to be aware of everything you bring to whatever table you choose to sit in, and make it great.
Make it great.
Make it great. The rain creates grass that creates work for the landscapers. The snow creates a mess, a mushy mess that does create. Everything creates something for our lives. Everything, no matter what it is. So you know what? Take advantage of what is yours, what is for you, and work it 100% to your best interest. Breathe it in, put it on. Make love to the idea that you are the most important person in your life. Café con leche.
Beautiful. And I want to also do a special shout out to Milagros. Milagros, we're so happy that you're back. We want to send from the Viva show our condolences to you for your mom. And so anybody that comes on, please, make sure that you reach out to Milagros either here or just send her a message that we're sending her love. It's just I don't want to keep talking about it. We're just so happy that you're back, and just know that we're always here for you. if you ever need to chat, or if you just want to laugh, or just, you know, just go for some cafe con leche or tea.
Tea.
I know you drink tea. You can have your tea, and we'll have our coffee. So don't ever hesitate to. You have our phone numbers. You could text us, and um, we're here for you. So, um, oh, you're welcome. That's so cute. She said, "Thanks, friend. You're welcome, friend." It's beautiful. All right, so we are still in January. Okay, even though it is going by fast. Hi, Tiffany Bryan. Good morning. And but we still have, what do we have, like a week left or something like that. So we do have time here. We're talking about awareness. That's what the whole month of January is about, is awareness. And we're continuing that process of awareness. Yes, we're becoming more and more aware of things, but it's and then we're ready to, like, we're chomping at the bit to take action, but it's a process, because the taking action part actually does not come until the second quarter. Doesn't mean that you can't take action now, and you don't, you have to wait. It just means that we want you to really, really understand the underlying things, so that when the end of the year rises, you could say, oh my God, I really nailed it this year. Like, when I look back at everything that I've done, I really nailed it this year. And most of the time, the reason that we don't do or fulfill everything that we have planned, aside from the fact that shit happens, because we just have to redirect ourselves, but we are usually our problem, truly. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And so when we could be aware, we could be accountable, we could do all the necessary clearing of the garbage crap that still remains within us, and
Mm-hmm.
then have a clean slate and take action. That's the best course. Plus, we can hold each other accountable for the rest of the year. So it's not saying that you can't take action, and don't use us as the excuse that, oh, I gotta wait, I can't take action until like April. If something comes up and you feel it and it feels right to you, sit with it and then take action on it. Okay. So we are in awareness still. We're going to be talking about what's my pain. And before we do that, though, we will do our set our intention for today, and we'll do our mantra. Sound good?
Sounds excellent.
All right. I always love when you wear your big, bright red jewelry. And I don't have any red, but the cup, the Viva
Yes,
cup
I
is.
was looking at your cup. I was like, it's complimenting me today.
And you had your white shirt on, very angelic, very, actually, not even, more guru than anything, more like sitting on a hill meditating, kind of white. And I had on something, and I'm like, screw it, I'm going to change. So I changed really quickly into my white. So we have the white and the red going on. So this is good. One of these days, we'll like really talk before and say, I'm going to wear this. Most of the time I wake up and I'm like, this is what I'm going to wear. I don't know what I'm going to wear the night before, because I don't know how I feel.
Oh, no, not me. I try to control those emotions, and I get everything ready the night before, because you mentioned something earlier when you were talking about awareness and accountability, and the time and the month. And yesterday was 123/23, and I'm sitting here
Yes.
with my granddaughter and my niece, and I said, but pay attention, because then pay attention to the numbers. We got 12323. Next month it'll be 22323, and then the following month it'll be 32323, and then that's it. So focus. Those are the months to be in coordinates with yourself, right? And then you were saying something about time, and we're sitting here. It's not that I don't honor time. Time is going to come, and time is going to flow like the river that will never return, because that's what it does. It is a time traveler. And if we don't keep up, those moments will be missed, right? But people they busy themselves watching the hands of time and living their life accordingly, instead of living the moments in time. And that's where we lose awareness. That's where we lose accountability for ourselves, because we're too busy watching outside instead of living it in the inside. So that's what Viva Cafe con Leche is all about this first quarter. So pay attention, like, share, follow, and subscribe, because you know what? We're riding that wave. We're riding that soul train. So come on board, because that's what it's all about. What are you busy doing? Are you busy being under Satan's yoke, or are you busy being aware, which means you're just sitting still? and you're watching
Yes.
things unfold, and you're choosing what is for you and what is not for you. Because, honey, just because it's in your size does not mean you can wear it.
Or it'll truly fit. Remember, it's not everything is cut the same way.
So join the
Um,
movement. Let's do this.
and
And
maybe
your
maybe when we talk about that, maybe that is your pain, is the fact that you stand still. So that's what we're going to talk about today. All right. So don't forget to like, share, follow, subscribe. We would appreciate that. We would love to see more people on. We don't have that many people on right now. I have shared. It seems like none of my tribe on my personal end is ever awake or wanting to hear us anymore. So we have got to get bigger and we love the people who come on consistently. We so appreciate that. We're so grateful for that. And we'd love to see more people that could use our wit and wisdom. So maybe there are people out there that just haven't discovered us yet. So see if you could be one of those people that gets us going, gets us out there. All right. So let's set our intention for today. As usual on Viva, we always set our intention, and our intention is to be intentional. So you could do it right this moment in time and close your eyes and set your intention for today. I would like to set my intention for myself today to be joyful and productive, to just let it flow. That's my intention today, is to just let everything flow in a really wonderful way for myself. And you set your intention for whatever that may be, either now or after the show, and you can always change it throughout the day. And it is followed with
gratitude.
hmm,
Be grateful for what you have and who you are. You're not less than nor more than anybody. Stop competing. Swallow, breathe, taste, see, and feel the gratitude of you being who you are. Because there's nothing more better than you being truly who you are. Stop imitating what someone else is. They're struggling with who they are. Now you're trying to copy them. You're losing yourself, and then you're building judgment and jealousy and envy. So let's just remain true to who we are and be grateful for everything that we possess that is truly ours, which is our essence. Again, join the movement.
and to instill that within you, it is time for the mantra. Say it loud, say it proud. Here we go. I am a disruptor.
I am a disruptor.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am magically orgasmic.
Ole.
And I own my truth.
And I'll keep it real. Let's go.
All right, today's show is What's My Pain? So, it's not like we've never discussed this stuff before. God, I guess I didn't wash my face properly this morning. I have like remnants of the sleep sitting in my eyes, and it's driving me crazy. It's not like we've never talked about this before. In fact, all the subjects that we have spoken on in the month of January, we've always talked about, like throughout the last, 3 seasons. So this is no different, but here's the pain part about this, right? So there's pain with the pain. It's not always easy to admit what is your pain. And there's so many elements to it. So we're going to talk about that. But here's what we want you to do as we're discussing this. There's so many ways you can go about this. We want you, if you can, take a piece of paper and start just jotting down, as you can remember things, what your pain is. And we don't want you don't have to share it with everybody. This is something, especially when it comes to pain, it's sometimes you're feeling embarrassed by it, ashamed of it, guilty, because there's certain parts of our lives that we have not dealt with. And as a result, it's manifesting into some sort of pain, which we're going to get into. So this is the time for you to take a piece of paper and admit it to yourself quietly. You don't have to shout it out, because sometimes the pain is a vulnerability. And if that pain is vulnerable, you don't want it to get into the wrong ears, because some people could be really mean and use it against you. And that's the worst thing that could do, because it just makes more pain. But this is for you. This is for you to decide okay, I've really got to be honest. What is my pain? And I'm going to write this down. And then maybe, I don't know, Gladiator Guru, maybe we could talk about the cathartic things that you can do when you write down some of these things, like burning them or something like that, or, shredding them or whatever. So let's start with what does that mean? When we're talking about what's my pain, what are we referring to?
What's your pain? Not the pain inflicted by others. What is your pain? Because we all have that box that we keep the lid tight on, which is our regrets, which turns into pain when we don't revisit and disperse. It's emotional. It can be physical. Like when your body is causing you pain, you better pay attention. So I would say exactly cathartic. Write it, paint it, sew it. There's so many ways for you to transfer all those emotions that you cannot verbalize, that you may be ashamed of or whatever. Just because you're doing something instead of talking doesn't mean it's not healing. And a lot of people don't heal. Why you think that is, Dr. Lori? Why do you
A lot
think
of
it's so
people don't
hard for
heal.
them to heal them, but they're so quick to say, I'm here, run across town, stop, pick up some soup, maybe some wine, run across town, knock on or find a key, come in, wipe your friends or family's tears off, coddle them, heat up their soup, feed them, sit there for hours. Why can't we do that for ourselves?
A lot of times it has to do with the fact that we don't believe that we're worthy. We can't receive, we can't stop, we can't. Some of it's the way you're brought up. Some of it's actually a lot of it's the way you're brought up. It's how you've developed over the years, and it's a story that just needs to go away. It's a story that we've put into our heads that it needs to go away. I mean, I was brought up that way. I was brought up with a martyr of a mother. Bless my mom's heart. I mean, my mother is a good person, but my mother has these elements to her that were, she was a giver, but her giving had a little bit of a stipulation to it. There was an expectation behind her giving. My dad, on the other hand, was a giver, never asked for anything back. He was just always very, very generous, people pleaser. Both of them people pleasers, coming from different perspectives, different mindsets, right? But either way, growing up with that, I was always taught give, give, give. And my mother would always give jabs when I was a child, even when I was young, not even as a child, throughout my life, about except as I was an adult, like probably it didn't, she stopped when I was in my 30s, but prior to, she would do something and then she would ask me to do something. And if I wasn't able to do it right at that moment, she would say, I never asked for anything, and blah, blah, blah. And then the whole thing would come out. And I started to get really confused by that. And I wasn't sure, like, what does that even mean? Like, so you're not giving because you want it? Like, I don't understand. And then it created this, and I'm not blaming her. I developed and created this very horrible emptiness within myself, and feeling that in order to receive anything, I had to give first. I had to give, 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 give first. And people are funny because when you do that, they quickly understand who you are. And then they, oh, I could just keep taking. And then when they start to see you like panicking a little bit, like, okay, I'm giving, I'm not really getting much back. And you pull back a little, they'll throw you a little crumb. It's like you're starving and they'll throw you a little crumb. And then you're like, oh my God, I got a crumb. I got something back. I did like thousands of favors and I got one back. Oh my God, I feel so special. Because we feel like we're unworthy. And then that causes us to just keep doing that. And then when we don't do for ourselves, it just adds on. So as time progresses, we let shit go. It's just like our conversation last week. We tolerate things. We just ignore stuff because we're not willing to stick up for ourselves and say, no mas. Like, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm done with this. And then to top it off, we get to a certain age where we think that's too late. When we do try, and we do try to stick up for ourselves, we get resistance from the people that we trained to take advantage of us. And then that resistance becomes too much and overwhelming until we get to a part in our lives where we say, okay, I'm effing done. You're not going to keep doing this. No means no. You have a problem with that, you can pitch a fit all you want, but I don't care. No means no. And so we're not willing to get rid of that pain because it's too challenging. There's too much resistance, and it's too late. We have all these excuses.
Laziness.
Yep.
Laziness to want to do something different, to learn different. It's laziness in my book, because when you allow someone to take advantage of you, it's easier to just sit there and blame. Well, I did so much for this and I can't believe you're doing that to me. It's pure laziness. What you are telling yourself is you are worthless. You can't eat. You're so lazy because it's so convenient to blame everyone around you that you don't even take yourself into account, which is too hard for you. You don't put in, and I don't need to tell yourself, tighten up. You don't even put the beauty of yourself into an account to say, hold up, let me get dressed and get up out of this bed because now I gotta go. I gotta go protect who I am, even if you just show up. So it's the laziness, what I mean under laziness, it's the fear of confrontation. It's the fear of being alone. Honey, you are alone. They only use you. So that means they only come when they need something. When everything's going good in other people's lives, you are a forgotten entity until their pockets are empty, their cars out of gas. I mean, the list goes on and on.
And that's a pain.
So, to love yourself takes a lot of energy, but guess what? You were provided since birth with so much energy that all the energy you burn to care and cater to yourself never evaporates. It's only when you allow it to be sucked out of you that you lose that energy. When you show up for yourself, that energy, instead of you wasting it, exhausting it, and you trying to lift yourself up, all it does is regenerate, cleaner, so you can see clearer. So the pain that we are feeling, the pain of the loss, of the neglect, of the abuse, the pain, mental, physical, spiritual, it's all in your hands to even the playing field.
And that's why
that it hurt, right? It's not saying it's going to go away and you're not going to feel pain. What it is you are going to walk in your truth. You're going to admit the role you play in this travesty of your life. And then you're going to work on never falling into that trap again. And if you do, it might be with your children. It might be some stuff we're not going to be able to avoid, but we're going to have the upper hand to know not to stay there longer than necessary.
And the way, this is how you gauge this. So if because pain it comes out in so many different ways. So this is what you have to also consider when you're writing these things down. Okay, not only what identifying what your pain is. It could be a person, situation. It could be a choice. Okay, it could be what you ate. Like anything. Okay, so just write everything down. But you have to also scan yourself. Am I feeling any type of physical pain in my body? Do my joints hurt? Do my muscles hurt? What specific joints are hurting? Does it happen all the time? Is it a constant pain? Is it an intermittent pain, comes and goes? Is it severe? Then you go into the inside. Do I get sick a lot? Does my stomach hurt a lot? How's my digestive process? How's my breathing? Do I have a disease that I've been treating? How did that come along? How much medication have I added to my body in the last 2, 5, 10 years? Is my hair falling out? Am I aging faster than I technically should be? Is it hard for me to get up in the morning because I'm just exhausted? Is it am I breaking out in a rash? Am I depressed? Am I anxious, especially compared to years? Like maybe it's gotten worse over the years. Am I angry all the time? Do I binge on things because I get very upset and then I just eat something and like crazy and things I shouldn't, or I go shopping and buy stuff and then regret it afterwards? all of these are all just reactions to the pain. So sometimes we don't even put two and two together. We don't sit there and say, oh, well, I'm sort of feeling like this pain in my face and I don't know where that's coming from. And, oh, I must have, oh my God, I might be getting Bell's palsy, or I might have a stroke, or, I might have a sinus infection. And you go to the doctor and then they're going to agree because that's what they do, but they don't look beyond it. They don't sit there and say, maybe it's emotional, maybe it's mental, what's your stress levels like? And you could be so into your stress that for years that you don't even know how bad it really is anymore because you've been into that stress so long. And so you have to really look at that and say, okay, what was my life like when I was in my 20s? What was my life like in my 30s? Did it start then? Who were the players? Because some of us really have to look at that and say, I've been with the same players for like decades now. Some of these players should have left a long time ago, and I chose not to really push them out. And then I have to ask my big question, why? Why didn't I? Why didn't I push them out? How much pain is it causing me now? And is the pain loud enough to really tell me, okay, this has got to get going? And with that, I'm going to leave Gladiator Guru, and I will. And then Milagros says, yeah, pain is necessary, but we inflict more pain than we need to.
Yeah, you gotta choose. Like my favorite philosopher is Rumi. And Rumi, one of his favorite, one of his quotes that I love and I say often, and I even write it when I in my books or my chapters or whatever. And it says, the cure for the pain is in the pain. But you gotta ask yourself, see, a lot of people that I know personally will say, well, what? Nobody's supposed to suffer pain. Which pain are you choosing? Because pain is necessary, especially when it comes, Milagros, and I know what you're saying, when it comes from heartbreak, an emotional pain of losing someone you love. And in those, I'm going to say two things about that, because I've lost my father, then my husband, then my mother. Okay. And so not, and aside from being a widow, I'm also an orphan. I have no parents. And so that emotional pain, it's, you cannot avoid, because it is the balance of life. Nothing is everlasting. Not your marriage, not any relationship, not your job, none of that. So that heartbreak is coming. What you got to be is brave enough to still fall in love, and then what is the balance of life? It is death. Unfortunately, the ones who stay behind are the ones who suffer the most. So that type of pain does remind us that tomorrow's not promised, that time waits for no one, and to get up and start living the life that we were born to live, and figuring out what our purpose is. So everything has a why, and we should follow that if we want to know what happiness is, right? So with that being said, that pain is necessary. The truth of the matter is, and I'm speaking from experience, that we tend to carry unnecessary pain. That woe is me. I can't believe after everything I did for her or for them, that this is how they pay me. And all of that is unnecessary. We have to call it out as we see it to ourselves. We don't have to talk about it to nobody. It's just like we're saying, it's our pain. And we have to deal with it according to who we are. And if you don't like that part of yourself, the only thing you can do is change. So instead of, sometimes there's some that all they want to do is talk about how wrong they were and the pain it caused them, and how they can't move forward in this or in that because of the experience they felt with whatever someone else did to them. So they don't want to find a doorway out of that. They like being there. They like the attention. They like all of this. Pain, for those who want to grow, you have to speak about it. So don't be feared that you're going to be caged in the same um, arena as them. Sometimes we need to speak it out. It is our responsibility to know when we're ready to speak it out so that when we say it out loud and it re-enters our ears, it gives us understanding. See, there's a time and place for everything. Although everybody knows I hate time, I hate the hands of time. Time is going to flow regardless, just like that river, what I said in the beginning. You need to know, are you going to ride the waves or are you going to fight against it? Are you going to ride the stream going down, dealing with all the rocks that you're going to come across? Or are you just going to stay on the sidelines of your own life? That will cause you more pain in the long run, more permanent pain. So when we're talking about pain, inquire within, because everybody has a story to tell. And everybody's pain is different, but it is honored in regards to how they're looking at it. So we were going to talk about what pains us. You know what pains me is regret, that I have since released to the four corners of the world. And it was the regret, like shortly after my mom died, that I wasted so many years disliking her. You know, it was I can't even think of the word, but it was what I formed as a child towards her, a resentment, and it grew. I matured as a woman, but I never revisited that. And so, what pained me for what, a year and a half, until I self isolated for almost 4 months, in July up to like October, was forgiving myself for holding on to the regret of the resentment that I have formed as a child. So there was a lot of layers I had to go through. And you know what the result was? When I got to the last piece of the layer regarding that part of my relationship with my mom, was that I finally broke the dam and I learned how to cry. I stopped crying because I felt my mother didn't love me at the age of 6. And I started crying at the age of 52 when she died. So that was a big gap. There's a lot of pain. Now I cry at commercials. I cry at movies. Now I'm like a Magdalena. And you know what? I'm kind of like really admiring that Margarita, because there are layers of us. So we have to honestly, with the fine tooth comb, is really discover who we are, the good, the bad, the ugly, because we all have it. And then that pain, that pain that I think, but badass, that pain that we carry, what's the percentage you think is self-induced?
Oh, I would probably say 80%, maybe even higher.
And why do you think half the time people don't go back and revisit? Do you think it's because they're embarrassed of their actions, ashamed, or in total denial?
All of the above, I think.
All of the above.
And I think it's also that it's so painful. People don't like to go back with their tail between their legs sometimes to admit that they were.
But that's pride.
It is pride, true enough. And it's probably, and it's not because sometimes their ego is it could be, I guess it could be the ego, but I think it's also sometimes receptions, like if somebody came back to you and said, somebody that you really didn't care about. I can think of one person in particular, maybe we're on the same wavelength, like this individual came back after all these years and said to you, Margarita, I really apologize for the way I've behaved. It was not okay. And if you were the person that they believed you to be years ago, you would have something to talk shit, now you're going to come back, right? It takes a really brave person to go back and then take it, when somebody's going to do that, because you don't know. That's why I really give credit for individuals when they're going through Alcoholics Anonymous and they do the 12 steps and
Yes.
they go back and they go to people and they apologize for how they for how their actions were when they were drinking. And it is the bravest thing that you could do, because you really don't know what the response is going to be. Some people will be like, thank you so much for doing that. But I think there's so many. Remember, you've said this numerous times, and it's not a quote that it's a quote that goes around, but hurt people hurt people. So if it usually, when the person hurts somebody, that person is hurt, and then when that person comes back and says, I want to own up to this, I want to be accountable to this, and the other person has to hurt them back. If we could be guaranteed that that wouldn't happen, I think a lot more people would own up to it and release that. But that's just not the case,
I think
Well, before you say something, I want to say something about what you talked about with your mom and that little regret piece. I'm going to say something, and I'm sure other people who are watching this that were around you with your mom could attest to this. Oh God, I'm a hot mess. I got my bra shown. That one would have never known that you had a relationship like that with your mother in the last part of her life, because I met you when you were taking care of your mother, and I did not get that feeling whatsoever from you at all. All I felt when I was around you and your mom was absolute love, affection, respect. So whatever you felt when you were younger, it wasn't evident in the last couple of years of her life that I saw. You took great joy being around her. You used it. You would do silly stuff with her. You cared for her, and you took her out places, because the first time I ever met her was at Augusta Tu Corona. So she was all dressed up and
yeah.
having a good time, and she was pretty vocal at that point. She was very engaging. So I didn't see it. So sometimes, even though it's such a small period of time compared to the lifetime before, I didn't feel that from you. I felt like there wasn't any odd, like, I'm just doing this to make up for what, but years ago. You were so present, it was ridiculous.
Thank you. And thank
Oh,
you, Miggy.
look at
Thank
Mickey.
you for that.
Mickey's
Miggy, you're at the beach in Clearwater that day I brought her. What happens is that I've always loved my mom, but for many years I didn't like her. I didn't believe she protected us as she should have. But when I heard she was sick, what the key for me being present, as you were able to see, because what you saw was my truth. But with my heart, I had to pray before I even got on a plane to leave Florida and go to Connecticut. I had to pray for God to allow me to see her as an elder woman who needed my assistance, and not from my child's memory as a mother. I prayed and I prayed, and God did it. Well, He did it. Didn't mean I still had a lot of mending to do, a lot of patches to throw over holes and seal it. And the last 6 months of her life was the forgiveness part. You see, nothing happens by accident. God will assign you, and you have to follow through. So when God says, okay, this is what you got to do, you're going to say, God, why are you bringing me here? Yahweh, why am I here? You know me. And He's just going to say, because I said so. And you got to do it. So because of my faith in God, and I prayed before I even, because I was adamant not to go, and then I prayed, and here I am on a plane. I'm like, all right, let's do this. But it was the last 6 months of her life. This is what I'm saying is, the regret that I had cost me a lot of physical pain. And Lori, we spoke all the time, but it also caused me a lot of shutdown of the brain. So I had all this physical pain.
Protection mechanism.
I had a closure of the brain, and I was not doing anything until I sat down and said, oh, this is my healing season. Okay? There's a seasonality for all that includes you, and we bypass it. And then I said, I am not in depression. I chose to self-isolate so that I may heal from the tip of my toes to the top of my head. And you know what? We need to do that sometimes. Isolate from everybody. and everything. I didn't leave the house. I barely got dressed. I only showed up for Viva in all my glamour. And and that's what helps. So do we have pain? We have a lot of pain. Thank you for saying that about my mom, because every time someone who knew and was a part of that says that, it makes my wings flutter. Yeah.
And Nikki did too. Did you see what she wrote? She said she agreed with me. So Migdalia said the same thing. She saw it. That's why I'm saying anybody who's watching that would have been around the both of you would have, like I didn't, when I first met you, I had no idea that that was a relationship that you had, the prior relationship you had with your mother. I didn't see that at all. So that just shows you,
But
and it
my
was,
mother didn't see it either, because my mother was so blinded in her pain, in her rejection from the men she chose to love, that she didn't even realize what she put her daughters through. So you see, the generational curse had to be broken at some point.
yes, yes.
And
And each person has to go through their demons on their own too. We know that. So
but if you're that person to break the general curses, or at least put a dent in it, to sidetrack it, slow it down, do it. But you gotta do the work.
but it
You gotta
starts with the awareness.
you gotta be aware that you are in pain, and 50% you didn't cause, but that 40% you are adding and adding, which is overindulging into the 50% someone else caused. So now it's all on you. Even what somebody did to you, they did it and moved on. Why are you still holding on to it? Letting it fester, salmonella and all that. What was those things? Those maggots are growing inside of you because you just can't let it go. We gotta let it go, especially if somebody else hurt you. Oh, they love me. I did all that. Get over it. You know why? Because it's like chewing that delicious bubble gum with that flavor you love. Look at my mouth is watering at the sour apple thought. You chew it until there's no flavor left, and the gum gets kind of like thick at that point. So what do the majority of us do? Not to eliminate it and throw it out because it no longer serves us. We stick it in our hair for later, for when we're bored. We pull it out, we rechew it. That's what we do with certain things in our lives. When the flavor's gone, honey, throw it out. When that pain that you're carrying because of what others did is affecting you physically and mentally, dig that bitch up like oysters and clams, or whatever it is, clams. Throw it out. Because why are you holding on to someone else's stuff just to say you love them? Love yourself. It is the hardest love affair you're going to have, damn it. Be brave enough to begin it or to endure it.
Here's a really, what also helps too is to really deal with your pain, is to watch movies or things that deal with that. Like I just put a post up on the comments with a link. It's a very short video. I think it's like 3 minutes long or something like that. This was a very powerful video I used to always give out to my clients. Actually, I still do, but it's Reverend T.D. Jakes, The Stumbling Stage. And he taught, it's a part of his longer sermon, but it's this most incredible little piece of the sermon. And it talks about how we get stuck because somebody hurt us or somebody did bad to us, and we choose to stay stuck, yet they move on with their lives. And then we have the nerve to still complain about what they did or what happened, and that they've moved on and I'm stuck here, when we're the ones that chose to stick there. Like we're the ones that chose to be stuck there. And it's a great little video to watch. Another one I would recommend, and I got to remember the name of it. I just watched it the other day. It's the movie with Jennifer Lopez and Robert Redford. Anybody remember that?
Oh, movie? Yes. Yeah, like Going Home or something like that. When
it's great. I got it. It's An Unfinished Life.
Yes.
An Unfinished Life. And again, it's all about guilt. It's about anger. It's about not letting go. So An Unfinished Life. And if any of you know anything about, like, I love Jennifer Lopez as an actress. I think she's wonderful, especially when she does drama. I'm not a big, comedies are a little too cheesy sometimes, but her drama is actually really good. But I love Robert Redford, and he's the
The Way We Were is my favorite movie.
The Way, oh God, he's so freaking hot in that. But he's still like, even in this, he's old and he's fabulous. Like he's absolute, but it's such a good movie. I would, if you've never seen it before, watch it. If you have, watch it again. But that's what it's about. It's like, how long can we hold this stuff in till what we die? Like, why not let it go? Like, why can't we just let go of the pain and then just say, I can't do this anymore? Like, do we wait and listen, I'm talking to myself here because there's plenty of things that I still need to take care of, that I have been dragging my feet. Little by little, stuff falls off and I deal with it. And for a while I was dealing drastically with stuff, but there's still these couple of lingering pieces that are the worst of the pieces. They're the hardest of the pieces that have got to end. They've got to go, because that has slowed me down so much in the last couple of years. And every day I wake up and think this is going to be the day. And every day I talk myself out of it. And then I say to myself, why is this so hard? Why is this so challenging for me to take care of this, particularly one situation? Because I don't know. Like, I don't know. There's so many.
I like that, because I thought you were going to say something.
I don't know. And but the beauty is that's not the beauty, but that's the reality, is that you have to understand, you have to give
yourself. But that is saying
grace.
Something, but I was expecting.
I know, me too. I was hoping something would come out.
A shower of diamonds, that epiphany hit you. And
yeah, it didn't.
But the epiphany is that you said, I don't know. You see, what's more powerful, trying to find the answers in the mud, or admitting you have none with clarity? See, that's inviting your peace back. That is inviting your power back. It's just to genuinely say, I've done all this and I still don't know. Why? Because your discovery is not what's important now. It's you traveling down the road to discovery. That's where you're going to find your answers. And we don't allow ourselves that glory, right? Because everything is hurry up and go. And then what happens? We hurry up and we haven't moved. And so I love that. Thank you for that.
Hurry up and we haven't moved.
Hurry
up, everybody to hurry up, and then all of a sudden they come back and they're like, yeah, so I had this great life and I moved on. And I'm like, oh, great. And then, like, are you still sitting there? Yeah. But here's the thing, it's your choice. This is the thing. It's your choice. If the reason you move is for the pain, if you truly are not painful, like we have this idea that sometimes it's important for us to always move, always change, always do. So if you love your life and there's no pain there, then there's no pain there. That's it. That's the way you look at it. Like if you're completely content sitting on the front porch in a rocking chair and living day to day and enjoying your life, then that's great if there's no pain. Not if you're convincing yourself there's no pain, that you're ignoring it by doing that, but that there's no pain. You say, no, you know what? I'm looking at this going, I love this life. Another good movie to help decide what's really important to you is Field of Dreams. That movie Field of Dreams, he was miserable, like not miserable, but he felt this yearning to, like, that he wanted something else. And then all of a sudden he starts getting he starts hearing things, and it starts putting him on a journey. And where does it lead him? It leads him right back to where he is. And when his father's character says, is this heaven? And he goes, no, it's Iowa. And he goes, it sure looks like heaven. And then he looks around and he's like, yeah, in his head, he's like, yeah, this is heaven. Like, what was I thinking? Like, why was I feeling a certain sort of way? Because I'm thinking that this isn't. Sometimes it's just a matter of perspective, of really looking around and asking ourselves the question of, am I making up my pain too? Am I making my pain be there when it doesn't need to be there? What's happening within myself that I'm just refusing to let the joy in? Can I find joy in my surroundings and where I am? I know Gladiator Guru Gladiator Guru must have dropped off, and I'm wondering if she lost power or something like that. So we'll see when she should be coming back on. Let me see what Lydia had to say. It isn't easy when you love and we think that the other person had respect and shared some kind of love. It's painful, of course, since I've learned to forgive everyone and everything. Yes, thank you. We missed you, Gladiator Guru.
Yeah, my internet. It isn't easy, Lydia, when you love, but then when we hurt so much because of the love is. When we put so much condition on love, that is when we get hurt. The
Yes, I agree.
expectations of how someone should behave and what they should do and how they should look because we love them. Or you don't love me because you didn't hold me and you knew I was feeling sad. All the conditions we place on love is what hurts us. You know, the person that we put so much condition on under the guise of love is what hurts us. Again, it is our doing. Love is love is love. We're going to have heartbreak because not everybody will meet our same love language. It's not going to be met with everyone we choose. I think the most unconditional love we're going to feel is when our children love us. And that right there is how we should learn what unconditional love is. Because guess what? We love our kid when they're first born, and all they do is cry, shit, and eat. And they keep us up, and we're up, and we're like, oh, go to sleep, go to sleep. But we love that child unconditional. When that child is 3, we start putting condition. If you don't clean your room, you're not going to go out to the playground. If you don't eat your dinner, you're not going to have your cookie. Listen, remind yourself, if you can't recollect those memories, listen to young mothers. Everything is with condition. Of course, we're going to get wounded. How are we supposed to meet the conditions of the person we claim to love when they say they love us, but there's a list of what we can and cannot do? So that's the thing with yourself. When you're looking at that pain that you might have created with conditions and how other people and expectations, how they're supposed to be, try to remove the conditions from yourself. The cage, that cell block, the cage is, the door is wide open. We choose not to walk through it because feeling trapped or feeling stuck or feeling like we shouldn't move is easier than actually laboring in pain for the love of who we are.
Yes, absolutely. I always make sure that when I'm talking to my daughter, especially the little one, because the littler ones are the ones you're always like directing because, I always make sure that if I get mad at her, because she'll say things sometimes, you know how kids are, oh, you must hate me now, or you don't like me anymore.
Mateo's saying stuff like that, and he's only 5.
And that's part of a manipulative tactic too. They're sort of gauging, and that you have to nip in the bud. And that's when I say to my daughter, I say, listen, no matter what, I will always love you. I won't always love your choices, and I won't always agree with your choices. So those I don't like, but I will always love you. Even when it seems like I don't agree with what you're doing, I still will love you. And I don't say, but I would love you more if, like, that's a conditional thing.
Yes.
I because I love you, I have the right to say if I agree or disagree. And because I'm your parent, I'm still raising you, I have the right to squash things until you get older and you can make your own decision.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when my daughter, who's now 19, when she hit 18, she did a couple of things that, I wasn't happy about because of my belief system. She decided to go ahead and do it anyway, and then told me after the fact. And I said, well, you have to, I mean, I love you. I'm not happy that you did that, but you're 18, it's your choice. And you just have to know that you have, if the consequences are positive, great. If the consequences are negative, you have to live with that choice. You have to live with the choice no matter what. And you cannot turn around and say, and, put blame on me because that was your choice. But I love you no matter what, like no matter what. And sometimes you could still love somebody, but because their choices are so away from yours that you have to let them go too. Like you have to say, I love you, but I can't ride this ride with you anymore. Like if you have a child who has drug problems, or if you have a child who's constantly in financial discord and they're always coming back to you, asking for money, you just say, I love you, but I got to let you go to find your path, because I can no longer help you. My assisting you is not helping you learn, but I love you. Because they'll throw things at you like that. Well, if you don't want to help me, you must not love me. That's your perspective. That's what you think, but that's not the case. And the pain becomes it's not saying that you won't have your own pain when you're dealing with things like that, but you will. But I would like to say, because I've never dealt with those heavier subjects before, but I would like to be able to think on my end that I would be able to live with my choice. Say, being straightforward and honest with somebody and saying, I love you, but I can no longer do this anymore. It's not okay. It's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for me. But I think with my children, they know, because I say it so often, that when they make a choice, they understand that piece of it. They understand that it's not, that I might not agree with it, nor do I have to once they get to a certain age. And it's not going to affect the way I feel about them. So, I don't know. What's my pain is, you have to really sit with this one. You really do. We're going to ask that you sit with this one all week. Even though on Thursday we're going to be talking about seeing, hearing, speaking, which brings it all more, again, into awareness. Really, like, what are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you saying and not saying? Because sometimes it's not just about what you're not saying, it's what you're saying. Because that what you're not saying, you're not saying, and instead you're saying something that's opposite of what you really feel. So we're going to bring that. We're going to remind you of those things again, but sit with this between now and next Tuesday. I think next Tuesday is the last show of the last show of the month.
Yeah.
Sit with it. Really sit with it and say, what's my pain? What it could be a pretty big list. And what you have to do is you have to say, I have to get uncomfortable with this. I've gotten comfortable with this discomfort. And
painfully raw.
And like you said, it could be that laziness where, but what it is also the fear of the unknown. We just think that it's probably going to be so much worse if I do make a change to this. Sometimes it is in the beginning. And then other times it's the best thing you could have done.
And you just said that, and you said it like if you were breathing, because it has been so normalized to say, well, fear kept you from doing it. Let's work on that. And you know what? That is one of the biggest excuses. Well, I'm afraid. Well, what are you afraid of? I don't know. Well, you have to know what you're afraid of to be afraid of if you're not making changes. What Lydia said is true. Pain is different for me as well, Lydia. It doesn't cut deep. They're just what are when you get cut? They're superficial wounds. Yes. For me, because I know that, and I'm gonna end because we're talking about what's our pain, and we talked a little bit about everything. And Milagros, yeah, the pain lessens with time. It doesn't take it away, but it does lessen it. Like, I can think back to my dad now without wanting to pick up the phone and call him because I'm confused or I need advice. And that happened for like 10 years straight after he died. I would find myself picking up the phone to call him. Eric and Mom. So it doesn't numb it. A lot of people like, oh, no, it allows you to walk with it and not over it. But what is my pain? We'll close out. If you have one specific thing you want to say, Badass Buddha, what's my pain? I discussed this and I'm writing about it. My pain was bullying my body all of my life. When I realized that that's what I was doing, I cried. Because I'll beat anybody who tried to bully me from my youth on, not realizing that I was the villain in my own life when it came to my body that got up every day for me, that walked, that, and the badass, we've talked about that. Not loving me, my me, completely. So that's what's my pain, because my me felt unpretty as far as society standards were, the jiggly thighs, the poochie pouch up front, my tits are fighting gravity. Let me tell you, they're fighting to hold on, but I still dress them in pearls because they're classy. But we have to discover where we are going to say, par carajo, what other people think of me. I walk in my truth. I walk with my chin up, my chest out. Just call me a motherfucking peacock. And that's it. Whoever don't like peacocks, that's your choice. That's your prerogative. But love, love, love. If you're gonna fall in love this year, make sure it is with you. And then you can identify what love is within another person. Love yourself. It's the hardest love.
That's a good point to end on, I have to say. You made me think about the fact that part of my pain is the fact that when I had my awakening 6.5 years ago, I fell in love with myself. For like, it took me 6 months to really work on myself. And then after that, I really started to fall in love with myself. And so for the first 2 years of that, I was on top of the world as far as moving forward, making shit happen. I was really, really in love with myself. And then it would seem to be that part of this pain is that I sort of got comfortable with myself. It's just like in a relationship, you get comfortable with the relationship and then you start to ignore things. And then you start to notice the things that you didn't notice before that you were in the honeymoon phase with. And then you were like, oh, I'm going to ignore that. And now it's like smacking me right in the face. And it's time for me to reestablish that love connection, that falling in love connection. And certain things just have to be done. Like they have to be. You said you're looking at the peacock. You're a peacock. I want to be a damn phoenix this year. I've keep seeing that picture come out. Yep.
I am the phoenix, baby girl. Been there
that picture.
And what does it remind you of, that song? Through the fire,
yeah,
through the limit. I can't sing, but I'm gonna do it. What?
And that's what I want to be this year. Like it has to happen this year. It's like I keep peeking out, and it's like, yeah, it's time.
You cry and you have to. Se llora, hay que reír. You cry, you must laugh, you must dance, so you can live a better life. Mark Anthony.
Yes. Vivir mi vida.
You know what? And
I gotta listen to that song.
That's it. Hay que vivir. That is your only job. When you were born, God gave you an assignment to live your best life, to be kind, to show gratitude, to be human and share your humanness amongst others in need. Never look down on somebody. What's that quote? When much is provided, instead of elevating your life, share it. Something to that effect. I probably just messed it the whole up, but you know what I mean. So that's what it is. It's about the gift of life that you were given. It's that simple. We add on. We want to love assholes. We want to think we can change people. We want to ignore the red flags that the universe and our angels are telling us, don't do it, don't go there, it's a roadblock. And we're like, we think we know better. You know what? Center yourself. Pray. Ask God specifically for what you need, what you feel that you need to get rid of. And then in the morning, wake up and sit in gratitude so you can receive the answers. Because you know what? It's about you. You can't provide for your kids. You can't be a loving spouse. You can't do anything until you figure out who you are. And if you're that ugly inside, please stay home. Because there are people that are they would never see the light in anything outside. So you know what? Be the person who is the light.
I'm seeing massive light right now. It's like coming in.
I always love that look of the blind.
It was so cloudy, and now it's just like coming in, like It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day.
Yes, you know what? Learn to love the world within you. And this way you can better gauge the world outside of you. If you can't do that for yourself, we can't help you. That's just what life is. Love and you shall be loved. Give love to receive love with no expectations.
Give love to receive love, but make sure when you're giving it, you're also giving it to yourself and not just giving it
Well,
out.
if you learn to love the world within, you can spot assholes. When you cannot blame somebody for being an asshole, when you had a role in choosing them. Because when you can say, no, no mas, no
Talk
thank
about
you,
accountability.
I'm taken, I'm not single, do
Oh
whatever
my
it
God,
is
I
you gotta
chose
do.
that.
Huh?
I said that's talk about accountability, which is I think which is March, but talk about having to take accountability for choosing those assholes that are in your life. Oh, damn, I must have had an advertisement at some point in my life that I put in the newspaper that said, listen, if you're an asshole, please, for the love of God, come hang out with me
So
because
they
I
only
just don't
came
have enough.
towards the magnet. See, and when you admit that, I love it because a lot of people don't want to do that.
I
When you
always
admit
say,
that you put the ad, that you had that neon sign that says only accepting assholes, then guess what? That's all, that's what you were
I
gonna
had
get.
it stuck to my, on my back, like it says, please, if you're an asshole, come hang out with me. And I say to this when I'm talking on Clubhouse or whatever, I'm a former narcissist and asshole super attractor, but I got to tell you that this is a thing you have to constantly keep in check because you still could have them lingering. And I've noticed that again, this is the awareness, they're still lingering. And that I've got to push them out finally, like that's the big thing. That was why that big move was supposed to happen, to push out the final pieces of these assholes that are in my life. And the move didn't happen. And now I'm sitting with that going, okay, then I've
Because
been a
God
little bit.
said you're not supposed to leave, they are.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So when we don't listen to the message, when we don't try to, we want to read everybody else's quote, but when God is speaking directly, we like poof, put it over our heads.
We're like,
You are not the problem, so you don't need to run. You don't need to leave. Your best life is yet to come. Be patient. Trust the process, for I am. If we believe in those words from Yahweh, guess what? Our eyes will open. You got to believe in something bigger than you, because how good have you been thus far? Got to lean on something. And Iris, you know what? People are going to say anything because you're daring to live your best life. You know what? Make wise choices, because at the end of the day, whatever happens to us is by the choices we made. So you're not that teenager anymore. You are an adult woman. You can't relive a past because you didn't enjoy it then. You got to start now. What is the best presence for me to be in at this moment and still enjoy my life?
yes.
There's people watching, our grandkids, our kids, there's people watching. So you want to choose wisely, but don't cheat yourself in the process. Not everybody's going to understand your journey, but you must live it well. And if you don't complain. We ain't got time for that. Homie, don't play that. Hold yourself.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna get you the sock. I'm gonna
Get
get you
me
the sock.
aware. You know what? This month of Viva Cafe con Leche was to bring forth awareness. And let me tell you something. When you open the blinds, the grass is not always greener on the other side, but you must travel it. And that'll be you changing the course of your life for better, for a higher spirituality, for anything that's going to elevate you to the point where it is going to release what no longer serves you. Only you can take yourself there.
Yep.
I can't hike that mountain for you. You have to experience the pain, the exhaustion, and you have to learn that you do have endurance to fight and climb and get to where you're supposed to be. So with that, awareness is we can always go back and forth on awareness, because you know what? This is the year of awareness. Look around you. Not the box you live in. Work, home, grocery store, cooking, cleaning, getting the kids to school. Not that. Mi gente, That is just a piece, a minute piece of the puzzle that, you know what, even if it goes missing, the puzzle's still going to look good. That's how insignificant that little shelter you built is. You are of the world. Pay attention. Make it better.
Want to also give a shout out. Good morning, Tata came on. Tata Rodriguez, Tonya, and Morgan Holland. Good morning. And thank you for joining us at the end. So for those of you that jumped on late, we had some good stuff. So maybe go back and listen to the program again.
Yes, Tata. Buenos dias. It's
And
so
don't
funny
forget,
because how do you even say that? Tata and I share a brother. He is her brother by mother, and he is my brother by father. And I love when Tata comes on. Tata, you have an awesome day.
aw. And don't forget too, for those of you that came on late too, don't forget to like, share, follow, subscribe, all that stuff. We have a YouTube channel. We would love to really get out there for more people, especially this year, because this year is about really stepping up. Like it's going to be 1 year long coaching session. Like you're getting a free coaching package, and we're going to be in your face about everything this year, very specific in an order. And we're wrapping up January, the month of awareness. And so Thursday we have seeing, hearing, and speaking. And then we're going to end the very last day with, are you happy? So we want you to sit for this between now and next Tuesday. We want you to ask yourself, what is my pain? We want you to come to Thursday and listen to what you're seeing and not seeing, what you're hearing, not hearing, what you're speaking and not speaking. We want you to go back and look at the other videos and catch yourself up, take notes. And then this way you're ready for that question. Are you happy? And then moving into that next month, and the month of February is acknowledge and acceptance, which is very hard to do because sometimes we're aware of shit, but we really don't want to acknowledge our role in it and accept that we played that part. And then we're going to sit with that for a whole entire month. And then we're going to get to the last bit for that quarter, which is accountability. And this whole quarter is know thyself. So that when we're ready to start the next quarter, it's going to be like, okay, I came to terms with who I am. I know me. I know what I needed to change. I know what my strengths are that I needed to excel upon or accentuate. But now it's time to take action with what we have. So
it's time to admit who you are.
That's right.
You know, you're not broken. You're just ill-prepared. You know? So never think of yourself as broken. I know a lot of people who do not listen to the show because it affects them, because what we're speaking is the truth and they're not ready for it. I've had people actually tell me that. Well, you know what? Buckle up, buttercup. Put your big girl panties on and pull yourself up from your bootstraps. Because if you don't do it, I can't do it for you. We can only let you know. We can only draw you a map. But you have to have the passion and the desires to eat it, like you do that bag of potato chips. We were talking about potato chips yesterday, how good they are when you know you're not supposed to eat them. But it's a whole other show. Simplicity. We started all of these. Are you happy? Such a simple question that is not respected enough. Are you happy? When you're asked that, think about it and be fucking honest with yourself.
Yes.
Don't say, oh, yeah, I'm happy. You know, sometimes. No, then you're not happy. You know, do you let things bother you? Are you happy? Think about that for when we open up next February with that. They're going to be simple questions. You know, simple titles that should get your little brain going. You know why? Because you're so much better than all the negatives in your life.
Yep.
So let's make it happen this year. Let's, whatever, you know what? We're all here. We're huddled, right? Look at a map of the world, not of the United States, of the world. And you see all these squiggly lines. We're the center. All those squiggly lines are all the paths that we will travel. We probably won't see each other again when we begin our journeys. But the memory of knowing one another and being truthful and being honest and speaking on what it is we want is going to be the fuel that you'll need to get you to your destination. So stay true to you. Keep watching Viva. share us, talk about us, love us.
And we'll see you.
And I'm ending that in a laugh because you know what? We did speak a lot of serious stuff and just laugh, darling. It is my favorite song. And with that,
from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
and from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out that bullshit. You don't need it anymore. Pa fuera!